fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, and I'm about 8 miles east of Islamorada. Some good friends from back at home, Captain Bruce Anderson, Captain Easy Charters. I got out just as the storm was hitting on Sunday. We got into Miami, and I know it's been cold up at home this week, and I apologize for that. But I mean, once it warms up a little bit and the seas settle down, you should have an opportunity to get back out for some of those blackfish on the party boats. Hopefully those stripers are still around out front. And I know a lot of guys are looking around for white perch. But I'll tell you what, one thing that folks are really interested in this time of year especially is finding some good ice for ice fishing. Why don't we check in with George, and I'll see what's at the other end of this line. George, what's happening in the freshwater?
You know, I always thought Jim might be just a little bit clairvoyant. He certainly knows where the fish are, but he seems to know just the right time to head to sunny Florida when these big winter storms roll through. But I guess somebody's got to stay behind and report on all this great fishing, guys, we're starting to get. And it is starting to really pick up. Of course, the trout continues to go on strong. You know, the guys are still fishing all the creeks. Even Justin Lerner, our friend from New Jersey, come over here to Pennsylvania and managed to get into a really nice tiger trout here in one of the local creeks. Lots of trout fishing, guys. Of course, that's still going strong. Get out and get on that. But of course, the big news is the return of the ice. Yeah, we even got it here at Beltsville, believe it or not. Guys from Pennsylvania and New Jersey are hitting it hard all over the place. Guys like Ken Beam, big New Jersey angler, over there getting in some giant perch, and that is a beauty. Congratulations on that one, Ken. And also Leonid Schaeur over in New Jersey as well. He's getting some bass out of his local ponds. So lots of fishing guys starting to kick in, especially those bass. Tom Dell, again in New Jersey, pulling some nice little bass out of some ponds over in New Jersey too. But even here in Pennsylvania, you know, a good friend like Eric Goodstall, he left those trout alone long enough to go get a couple of dink bass out of these lakes too. So everybody seems to be getting that action, and surprisingly, the bass has been the big target. I guess the water has just been so long warm that the bass are still active, so lots of stuff there. It also looks like we're in for a really long stretch of good weather, so I think it's a good time, guys, to get out, hit this ice. Should be around for a little while. Be safe and get out on them. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Seems a little cold to me. Hey, listen, don't hate me for being in beautiful weather. Hey, listen, it's a great time of year to come down to the Florida Keys. If you do so, check in with Captain Bruce Anderson, Captain Easy Charters. He's right here in Islamorada. And the cool thing is, so many people from back home in the Northeast travel so well. Bruce is actually from Long Island. You can go down into Marathon and bump into Captain Bill Brown from New England, and our friend Jamie Connell runs Flying Fish Charters out of Key West as well, another Jersey boy. So definitely it's something to do, and find somebody from back home who's doing it pretty damn well down here in the Florida Keys. Just remember, when you're coming down here, put on some of your home colors too. You know, wear something from the local tackle shop or for hire captain back home. You'll be surprised at how many folks will recognize you and come up and talk because they recognize something from back home. Could be your local restaurant as well. The cool thing I mentioned, people travel well from New Jersey. So many fishermen you'd think about down in Cape May, not just the recreational fishermen, but commercial fishermen. There's so many people in Cape May who do so much fishing. I'm gonna come back and we'll talk about blackfish, and we'll talk about the porgies, and we'll talk about white perch next week. But first, I had some time to spend with Jeff Martin from Lower Cape May Regional High School, and they've got a really cool program for kids who are involved in fishing and want to do more with hands-on work. So we'll see you again next week, but meet my friend Jeff from Lower Cape May Regional.
What we have in here is a wet marine science lab where we have a couple thousand gallons of different types of aquaria representing local specimens of vertebrate and invertebrate marine life. So all of it is put together and maintained by the students, you know, with my supervision. Almost all of it's been collected locally through different types of nets that we carry and drag, and collection through different types of like artificial reefs that we pull up and harvest, mostly in September and October when the best specimens are around. But we also try to collect enough of our own food and supplies to be self-sufficient, and also having this physical campus backing up to a really healthy salt marsh doesn't hurt, because we can go out and collect grass shrimp and minnows and stuff. So it gives us impromptu field trips on foot, you know, where we have rubber boots and waders, and we can just do what we need to do whenever we need it, you know. So,
no shortage of fishing kids in Cape May.
No, I mean, that's one of the reasons why this class is successful. We have a thriving Coast Guard base here, so we have students that come from all over the country to Cape May, and their parents are ocean people, so they want to learn about what's here. And we have the second largest commercial fishing fleet on the East Coast, I think the third largest in the country, right here in Lower Township, Cape May area. And also, as you know, a very active recreational fishing industry, and just a lot of kids who go fishing with their grandpops, and you know, so they want to learn some of the science and a little bit more deeper knowledge of what's here. So you know, this class is populated by students that are interested in those fields. So we try to kind of mix it up between the biological and physical sciences, because there's, you know, both components. In college they might treat them separately in different courses, but we kind of mash it all together in a 10-month course, you know, in a full year course. So here's actually a local exotic. So we didn't buy these fish, although they look pretty enough to be bought at a local pet store. But these are called spot fin butterfly fish. We catch these. They're about half that size or smaller when we get them in September and October, and they'd be dead by now if they'd have stuck around, because the Gulf Stream brings them up, but there's no way to go back from, say, Florida or the Bahamas, where they're native. So, you know, probably millions of these come up every year and perish or get eaten. But we catch them, and they make great aquarium fish, and they add a little splash of the tropics to a middle Atlantic ecosystem. So this is a common Atlantic octopus, which is Octopus vulgaris. Has a very wide range, almost the entire Atlantic Ocean and into the Mediterranean. It's one of the most intelligent invertebrates on Earth. They really don't even know how intelligent they are. There's, you know, they're kind of a James Dean life. You know, they live fast and they die young. They grow very quickly, but they die pretty young. You're lucky to get 1.5 to 2 years tops. And we've been keeping them for over 20 years. And here, almost every year we get them, and I've yet to catch one in one of my traps or nets. We've caught squid, but never an octopus. So they're just a little further offshore from where we collect, but we rely on fishermen to bring them in. And some of these fishermen have actually come through this program as students. So now they're in their 30s or their 40s, and they're running commercial fishing boats, different operations. So they actually are cool enough to think about us and bring these in. So since we kind of rely on the kindness of fishermen, it's not easy either. This animal is mischievous. It can get out of almost anything. So they have to know what they're doing first to bring them to you alive and well. So you know, I'm always really appreciative of any guys that have a hard, you know, day, you know, put in at sea, and they still think to bring in an interesting specimen. So we try to honor them, but by giving these octopus a great life, and also to you know, make them a great teaching tool for our students. So this is the newest tank. This is just under 400 gallons. We've set it up for salt water. It's sort of like a flat screen TV from the outside, where the public, you know, hallway walks through. We had windows here, and when the expansion of the building came, the windows were kind of obsolete. So we thought it'd be a great place to put a tank, and it's still fully being set up, but we have so far 3 fish. This is a striped burrfish, which a lot of people call a puffer fish, and it has the spines. They can swell up with air or water, and they're surprisingly large, almost like a perfectly round grapefruit. And then there's a tautog, which is another type of wreck fish or reef fish, sometimes sold as blackfish, a good eating fish. We call these microcosms because they're like mini worlds, and you know, students are here to learn. So we talk about, you know, global trends, global issues with ocean acidification or pollution, or, you know, excessive runoff from land. And, you know, New Jersey has like fertilizer bans on certain types because of, you know, inshore pollution, what they call eutrophication or whatever. So the same things that can happen in the aquarium, you know, can be, you know, brought out as a larger concept for a regional or even a global issue. So this is the life support system. This is basically chemical, biological, and mechanical filtration all in one. We have a 2,400 gallon per hour pump. It's submersible, so it's totally watertight, run through a ground fault circuit interrupt, so we try to be real safe with electricity and salt water, as you can imagine. And one of the things we want to add is a little refugium. So they give you a chamber. This manufacturer happens to have a little what they call refugium chamber. So we're going to maybe order some baby mangrove trees or use some seaweeds that grow very well, usually the simple green seaweeds, and use it as an example to talk about bioremediation and how plants can actually clean the water chemically that you can't, another one of those chemicals you can't see, but they'll draw that down and make the water, better for the fish. Then we don't have to spend as much effort on water changes, and talk about that as, hey, how can we do that for runoff, or how can we do that for sewage treatment or effluent? So kind of a nice springboard for that as well. A number of students graduate with a degree in marine sciences or oceanography or a related science. And the market's tough, and it kind of ebbs and flows with whether you have an administration that's hiring a lot of government jobs or regulation jobs or fisheries jobs, or do you have a lot of that being cut out of the budget? So timing when you graduate is really important, but surviving that first year. Coming in, all of a sudden you're hit with, statistics and physics and calculus and, ocean systems 1 and 2. And those kids are, I try not to make this class so fun and so easy that, they get a false sense of security and they're going to go out there and get, blown away. I do tell them, look, I don't necessarily care if you become a marine biologist. I just hope that you're more science literate by the time you leave. That's really my goal as a high school teacher, is to make sure that they can understand, an article that's written in a magazine or a newspaper and make an informed decision, because they're going to get a vote whether, they're ignorant or not. So, to make a student, I think that's probably the goal of every science teacher in America, is to make their students more science literate.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.